Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome for the first time if you are new. We are back to watch another episode of House of the Dragon. This is Season 2, Episode 3. It is called The Burning Mill. Last episode we had a twin-on-twin fight, and it was heartbreaking. You know, the Sir Eric versus Sir Eric. Eric kills Eric, and then Eric kills Eric. He kills himself. And it was heartbreaking, right? Like the sworn protectors of the Night's Watch, not the Night's Watch, the Kingsguard, dying because Kristen Cole is an idiot and doesn't know how to do his job correctly. And then because of his idiocy, he gets promoted to Hand of the King. And it's just like, I hate this man with a fiery burning passion. But who I don't hate, like the person I don't hate, is the actor who plays him. There's been people that are straight up sending this actor death threats because they can't differentiate the fact that, like, these are real people outside of the show and they are not the character they portray. And so this man's had to, like, private his Instagram, like, turn off comments, and it's just like, bro, like, you guys need to realize that's not actually the guy. That's not actually Kristen Cole. His name is Fabian. He's a different person. Like, you need to chill. But yeah, the last episode ended rough, and we'll see what happens. But before we jump into it, if you end up enjoying my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me, helps my videos pop up more in the algorithm. If you're new here or you find yourself coming back often, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. Watch other things than House of the Dragon reactions. You know, I watch a ton of shows and movies on the channel, so you know, branch out a little bit. It would mean a lot. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon or joining YouTube memberships, both linked down below. You just sync up your own copy of the episode and you can watch along with me. But other than that, let's jump into Season 2, Episode 3 of House of the Dragon.
Must be my swordsmanship.
Can you even get that thing up?
Well enough for killing Blackwoods.
Who is that person? A Bracken?
Put the boundary stones back.
We didn't move them.
Oh, did they move themselves then? Just rolled their way over so Bracken cows can fill their bellies on Blackwood grass?
The Assize at River.
Fuck the Assize. And fuck you.
Ooh. Them's are fighting words, brother.
Babe killer.
What did you say?
Babe killer?
Your false queen
Oh, yeah.
Rhaenyra is a kinslayer.
I thought they were talking specifically about this kid.
Well then, let me tell you.
You're about to die.
Aegon Targaryen is no true king. Just as you are no true knight. You're both craven, little cunts!
They're kind of scaredy cats from the performance they're given. They seem frightened.
You wouldn't dare.
Oh. I think they dared, and I think it didn't end well for them. Damn, there's hella people dead here. That turned into like an actual all-out fight. That's so many dead bodies. And the windmill? The burning windmill still turning is a nice touch.
He sullies the grave of his brother.
Otto Hightower would never have allowed this. Hotter blood has prevailed, I think.
Yeah, Otto's a calmer individual.
Soon they will not even remember what it was that began the war in the first place.
That is easy enough. They usurped my throne.
That is one answer.
That's really the only answer, but it's the main answer.
Or was it when the child was beheaded? Or when Aemond killed Luke?
I guess, yeah. There's lots of things that happened.
There may be another way. Alicent Hightower. There is no war so hateful to the gods as a war between kin.
The gods are like intimately familiar with war against
No
their
war so
kin, though.
bloody as a war between dragons. I do not believe she wants it.
I feel like that's from the book.
I do not care to read her message. What she did,
It is not her but the men around her who seek bloodshed.
she permitted it.
As you permitted the murder of a little boy in his bed.
Yeah, I mean... She's got some points.
Alicent
She's got
is
some
in
points.
King's Landing. Her son sits my throne. There is nothing more to be said.
I would not want to be the actor that just gets buried in sand.
You're well, Lord Hand. Only
Interesting.
they'll be waiting.
His he doesn't wear a pin. It's like a necklace of hands.
Good morrow, your grace, my lords.
You don't deserve this spot. He's
You've
just
appointed me
spaced
knight
out in his room.
To the King's Guard, your grace.
To replace those we lost.
And I've lost one needlessly, some might say.
The
Alec was
shade.
awarded the great duty of ending Rhaenyra's challenge. He failed to discharge it.
He failed because his king was rash.
Perhaps, your grace, but we cannot all hide in our castles waiting for war to come to us.
As now it surely will.
As now, it already has.
You effed up, dude.
The Blackwoods and the Brackens have feuded for centuries. This is nothing more than an excuse for them to indulge their ancient grudge. It's no true war.
Call it what you will. I call it war. And so will Dragonstone. The question is, what are we going to do about it?
Nothing. Just, how about let's not jump straight to killing people again?
We not aim to unite these armies and then strike as one.
Ah, the great military mind of the Citadel. Do
They're all
remind me
torn
what you
apart.
did in your chain
They
to
can't stop arguing amongst themselves.
The Riverlands are the key to the war. Harrenhal is the key to the Riverlands. I will ride out with those I can muster here. I will turn the Crown land houses who declared for Rhaenyra to our cause. We will add their numbers to our own and then turn west, where I will enlist the Brackens, subdue the Riverlands, and take Harrenhal.
So impatient to ride with so few men.
That's a bold move.
A bold scheme indeed.
Well, the gods favor the bold.
They did not favor Sir Eric.
What say you, my king?
And you'll
Damn.
take Aemond and Vhagar.
Their hate sex is really going to turn into hate sex soon.
We cannot risk your loss.
That's true. You can't be sending the king out on, like, entry-level
I'm as
missions.
fearsome as any of them.
Sure. Everyone goes to take a sip of water. They're like, if you say so.
I've decided to send Joffrey to Ward with my cousin, Lady Jane Arryn.
Jane Arryn.
She has pledged an army in return for a dragon, so she will have one.
And Stormcloud.
I want you to go with them. Rhaena,
Okay, I think I see the
I
vision.
need you to be the mother to them that I cannot. Make this sacrifice willingly. For all of us.
Sending you away. That sucks. Isn't Pentos... Is Pentos where Daenerys starts out in Game of Thrones? Is this Harrenhal? Yeah, this is Damon. Damon's at Harrenhal. Interesting, interesting. Why are you here? Are you here to, like, kill someone? Yeah, you got your sword out. Why is there no one around? And, I mean, I knew this place, like, burned down, but... Sounds like a lot of people, potentially. Sounds like cheering. Someone just said his name. The ghosts are speaking to you, brother. Hello. Are you interested in dying today? Or just being unconscious?
I'm claiming Harrenhal.
Okay.
Apparently so.
Not much to claim.
I, Sir Simon Strong, Castellan of Harrenhal,
Sir
pledge
Simon
fealty
Strong.
to Rhaenyra of House Targaryen, first of her name. I swear this by the old gods and the new.
Who is this lady?
Supper is venison with black cabbage and peas.
She doesn't seem nearly as submissive.
And what of your lord, Larys Strong?
Larys Clubfoot is no lord of mine.
Damn right.
He's a scourge upon this castle and this family.
Yeah, he killed everyone here.
So no, you will find no loyalty to Larys Strong here, my prince.
Your Grace.
I'd only assumed that as consort.
And we are reminded of the perilousness of assumption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He wants to be
Your
treated
Grace.
with the respect of king. Even though he's not.
There are 40,000 swords in the Riverlands, the largest undeclared host in the realm. Only Harrenhal is of a size enough to garrison them.
You should know that a substantial number of those swords have now declared and are presently at war. Houses Bracken and Blackwood have long detested one another.
Why?
'Cause.
The answer
Something
to
about a
that
sheep,
is
probably.
lost in time. Sin begets sin, begets sin.
It's the Montagues and the Capulets, you know. Who knows what initially went wrong.
If you are successful, well, when you are successful, what then?
We march on King's Landing and take the throne.
Easier said than done.
It's a big chair, made of swords.
Indeed it is, yes.
Lord Commander, your
Oh, he
host
cut
is
his
mustered
hair.
and ready to march.
He enjoys battle. Smells good.
She's already flirting with a new man. Be jealous.
So, Kristen, may I present my brother, Sir Gawain
Oh,
Hightower?
never mind. Not flirting with him.
Mayhaps, I should say. My Lord Han.
This guy looks pretentious.
Sir Gawain has volunteered to accompany you into battle.
Sir Gawain has volunteered to kill you at some point in the battle.
I thank your grace for her prayers.
And request that she grant her favor.
Did I do something wrong?
Your grace.
He recognizes. I like Kristen Cole's helmet better, but I hate him.
Dragons. Send them all out. Start turning green strongholds to our cause. And burn those who resist.
No.
Yeah, we can't be so aggressive.
Fear of it is in itself a weapon. The Greens will make the same calculation.
Would you like to continue to laugh at your queen?
We will secure victory with armies, not with dragons alone.
Prince Damon is abroad, and Egon's factions are enraged at the death of his son. You have never been so exposed.
Perhaps it is time.
She's eyeing that guy.
Secreting yourself somewhere safe, while we remain here as a source of distraction.
You propose to conduct the war in my absence?
Yeah, they want to remove you from the situation.
This council would do well to remember that their queen wears the crown of my grandsire, Jaehaerys the Conciliator. A prudent ruler, the wisest of Targaryen kings whose reign outlasted every other.
Facts.
Even Aegon the Conqueror's.
Facts. Y'all need to chill the F out and quit trying to be treasonous.
Rhaena, Lord of the Tides.
Why not?
The girl knows nothing of ships, nor even of dragons.
There is Rhaena or there is Joffrey.
Pick one. You don't have many choices.
We are at war, Corlys.
Yeah.
If something were to befall you.
Then it is well that I am a good sailor.
Good sailors get killed by dragons. No matter how good they are.
Tyraxes and Stormcloud are young and vulnerable. These eggs are even more fragile. But should all come to ruin here,
Are those the eggs?
you will bear our hope for the future.
Like Daenerys' eggs? I mean, she's putting her in charge of, like, her 3 kids. One of which probably becomes the ruler eventually. Like, this is important.
I feel sad about Jaehaerys.
Understandable.
But I ought not to, I think. People die all the time. Especially babes.
No, you should still feel sad.
Surely they lose their babes more than
Yeah.
I ladies.
That is such a
The stranger comes for us all.
interesting thought process.
You have as much claim to grief as anyone. Helena,
I forgive you.
What?
I said that I forgive you.
Damn. That is a big... That is gracious of her.
Valyrian steel. Worth more than a castle.
A sight to stir the passions. Aegon the Conqueror reborn.
What is your business?
There are rumors that the king readies himself to fly to war.
What is it to you?
It doesn't look like it fits him.
What exquisite armor?
I was given the Conqueror's name and his crown, so I shall wear his armor to war.
Yeah, but he was, I think, a little taller than you. And it doesn't quite fit.
I think mayhaps I shall fly another day.
And it does seem wise on
Yes,
reflection.
indeed, indeed.
You could come out with us, my king. You're sworn to chastity now.
Of course, Your Grace.
You are sworn to chastity now. You guys got to take this seriously. Seems like a very popular guy.
Yeah, my darling. One for the flagon, one for yourself. There's a good girl, eh?
Oh, hey, that's the girl from season 1. The one that the now king took advantage of.
Who was your grandsire?
They call him the Conciliator.
King Jaehaerys.
Interesting. That's things you don't want to be speaking out loud.
Son of Balon the Brave.
Bastard brother to Prince Daemon.
The blood of the dragon runs through these veins, and yes,
Really?
men would take my head for it.
Is he being truthful?
All hail the king! All hail the king! Drinks for all! At the pleasure of the crown!
Okay.
Oh, the pleasure of the crown!
That dude's into his role.
Drink the wine, boy. Come on, then!
These boys undercover as the King's Guard. Why aren't they in their fancy outfits? Wow, he doesn't even recognize the waitress that was serving him. Oh my goodness.
She's worth 3 times your price.
Why are we being shown these things?
Aemon the Fierce! You have come so far, and yet you still lie with your very first. Did you fuck her like a hound?
My man, he is gonna... He's gonna make sure you die.
Your squire is welcome to her. One oar is as good as another.
Why do we have to be shown the nakeds? That man is gonna become a school shooter. It's just keep picking on him and people are gonna die.
Sir Gawain, our company has camped back yonder.
On the cold, hard ground. Which is why we make for the Bull. A tavern with an excellent reputation on the Rosby Road, not 2 miles away from memory serves.
We march to make the first strike in the name of his grace.
Yeah, you can't be giving yourself away.
I assure you, my nephew will not begrudge me a night of comfort.
But other people there might give it away.
We're exposed.
What?
Cole? Dragon.
Get to the tree!
Ooh, you ain't want to be here. Sir Gawain, you effed up. Oh. Here we go. Wings in. Careening in like a fighter jet. Ooh. Shoot some hot fire. You boys got lucky. He's crying. He's scared. Yeah, you almost just got everybody there killed, dude.
Cole will look to increase his numbers, and he may call upon a dragon of his own.
This is why you must act now, Your Grace.
You keep telling her what she must do. Why don't you listen to her advice?
I have heard your arguments, and will consider them.
I mean, at a certain point, she does have to make a decision. They gave him the leaky room? Is he having a dream? Does this place make you go crazy? Someone's singing. Is it Jenny of Old Stones?
Always coming and going, aren't you?
Is it?
And I have to clean up afterwards.
Oh. They got Millie Alcock back. That's awesome. Being haunted by his deeds. And in the Godswood. Who are you, spooky lady?
You will die in this place.
Okay. Who are you? Demon witch? Okay, get advice from the worm.
What do you know of the movements of Alicent Hightower?
There is one place Alicent goes. Outside the castle walls.
The Godswood.
Where you may yet find her alone.
Damn, okay. We're doing a little sneaky sneak. How far away is Dragonstone? How easy is it to just go on a boat there? Dressed as a septa. She truly can just walk right in. Oh yeah, this is where she goes. She goes to pray. So these boys hang out on the steps and read while the ladies go inside. What is she even gonna say to her? She's low-key a little annoyed, interrupting her prayers.
No, no. What? I must speak with you.
Why did you take out a knife?
So you've come to surrender then?
No.
I have come to see if we may uncover some path towards peace. If you and I may come to terms.
There are no terms now.
Yeah.
We have no army.
We are a little too far into this.
Have you now stooped so low that you will countenance the suffering and death of thousands in order that your feckless son...
Your father changed his mind.
Oh, so you say.
He didn't.
I saw the king that night. Mere hours before I left him, he had affirmed my right to the throne. A right he upheld steadfastly.
Throughout his whole life.
And yet you will maintain that his mind was changed in an instant.
I will.
You lie.
She thinks she's telling the truth. I think
My
in
father
her
loved
heart
me,
she
Alison.
knows
And I believe he
that
loved
it's a
you
lie,
too.
but she also low-key thinks she's telling the truth.
Did you betray him at the very last? When was your plan first laid? Was your ambition so keen?
He changed his mind, Rhaenyra. He changed his mind.
He didn't.
I pronounced before all gathered in that room that you would make a fine queen. Do you think me capable of such naked deceit?
Not quite. Ask her what he said. So she's having doubts. She's thinking maybe he did change his
She
mind.
said at the end.
He said he was the prince that was promised to unite the realm.
Prophecy.
What?
I desire peace as you do, but if it's ever to
Did my father use those words? The prince that was promised.
It's the prophecy. Tell her about the prophecy.
He spoke to you of the Song of Ice and Fire.
she doesn't know what it means.
It's a story he once told. About Aegon the Conqueror. The Conqueror.
Yeah, you misunderstood him. She's like, oh, I fucked up.
You must go before you ask.
She
It's been a
is
mistake.
realizing she is screwed things up.
A terrible war is looming, and even victory may be so bloody as to be counted a loss. Do not let your pride blind you. There's to the been blood. no mistake. My father has gone from court. God is on the march. You know what Aemond is?
It's happening.
It's too late, Rhaenyra.
It is too late. At least Alicent, I think, in this moment knows she might have effed up. And realizes she misunderstood. But at this point, you're too far gone. There's the resolute face. She knows what must be done. Oh, how do you end the episode? Come on now. Okay, episode 3 in the books, and it appears Rhaenyra has officially made her choice. She has reckoned with the fact that that war is inevitable, and there is, at long last, no way of stopping it. She kind of spends most of the episode, I feel like, not wanting to follow much of the direction of her council, because she, up to that point, like, truly believes, like, there has to be a way to stop this, right? Like, she how do I explain this? Like, they talk about it a little bit in the after episode where, like, up to this point, she hasn't been choosing the role of the queen. She's just kind of, like, accepted her inheritance, if that makes sense. And in accepting her inheritance, she, like, also, like, is accepting how her father feels about the realm and, like, his desire for, like, peace. Like, he doesn't want war, he doesn't want any of this. And so, like, in Rhaenyra's accepting of her inheritance, something that was given to her by her father, the king, she's also accepting his will on, like, hey, let's not have the realm descend into madness and chaos. And everything around her is telling her it's inevitable, it's gonna happen, and she's just, like, holding steadfast to this. And by the end of the episode, you know, after talking with Rhaenys, after listening to her counsel, like, she's decided, like, I need to talk to Alicent face to face. And she goes, and they, I believe, truly come to, like, the true realization of the whole misunderstanding that started all of this, right? Like, Rhaenyra, throughout this whole process, has known in her heart that her father wanted her to be king. She's never had to question, or not that her father wanted her to be king, that her father wanted her to be queen. She's never had to question whether or not that is true. She just knew it inherently in her heart. And then she's talking with Alicent, and, you know, she can see in Alicent's eyes that she's not lying, right? Like, up to this point, she's been able to assume the worst of Alicent and the worst of the rest of the Green Council. She's had the luxury of assuming that they, you know, maliciously took this throne from her, and the rest of the council somewhat kind of did. But she sees in that moment in Alicent's eyes, like, she's not lying. Like, Alicent thinks she's telling the truth, that that the king truly did change his mind at the last minute. And you see that moment in Rhaenyra's eyes as she has to, like, reckon with the fact that, like, what if I'm wrong? Like, what if I have been fighting this fight and people and babies have died because of this thing that I might not even be correct about, right? Like, she has this brief moment of, like, panic and starts to, like, get emotional, and she's like, oh my god, like, I might have screwed this up. And then Alicent says the little bit about the prophecy, and she's like, wait, hold on. Like, what did you just say? And she almost starts to laugh because she's like, oh my god, like, this whole thing, like, you didn't realize. And when she's like, he talked to you about the Song of Ice and Fire, and Alicent doesn't know what that is. And she looks a little confused, and she's like, oh my god, like, oh my god. Like, and then she's then reaffirmed, knowing, like, okay, my father did choose me as the queen, like, I am the queen. And then you see, like, she explains briefly, very briefly, what that is to Alicent. You know, she's like, a prophecy of Aegon the Conqueror. You know, she doesn't tell her, you know, the prince who was promised is destined to unite the realm. She just mentions Aegon the Conqueror. And then you see the same thing that Rhaenyra just went through in Alicent's face, where she actually realizes, oh crap, I screwed this up. Like, I think they talk about in the after episode, like, this chaos that her mind is thrown into, where she then has to reckon with the fact, like, I might have started a process that led to war because I misunderstood what this man was saying in his deathbed. And it's just so interesting how, like, that scene encapsulates both these women, like, coming to the realization, like, the true realization of what has occurred and the misunderstanding that led to it, but then also both of them truly coming to the understanding of, even though all of this is true and we wish we could do anything, we can't do anything to stop this. Like, I can't go and tell these people to come back. Like, Kristen Cole has already ridden out to Harrenhal. Like, Aemond is going to fight. Like, he's Aemond. He demands recompense for his eye. Like, he doesn't feel as though he's gotten revenge for that yet. Like, he's gonna act the way he's gonna act regardless. Like, the council and the king are now at this point where, like, they're not gonna listen to reason. Like, it's unavoidable. Like, people have died, children have died, war is happening. Like, there is no choice here. Like, the Brackens and the Blackwoods have already massacred each other. Like, it's happening. And Alicent walks away. She's like, it's, war is coming. And then you end with this close-up on Rhaenyra's face where she's, like, kind of, like, freaking out a little bit. But then you see her collect herself, and then it's just stone-faced. And I mentioned in the moment, I was like, okay, she's ready. Like, she's accepted it. Like, she's accepted war now. And in the after episode, they contextualize it as where, kind of how I mentioned, where previously she was just accepting her inheritance. In that moment, she is choosing it. Like, she is choosing to be queen. Not just, like, regretfully accepting the burden that's been placed upon her, but she is actively making the choice to be like, I'm the queen and I want this. Like, she realizes there's no turning back. There's nowhere else to go. I want this. Like, if it is gonna come to war and one of us is gonna come out on top, it's going to be me. And it's just like such an interesting scene. Such an interesting scene. Like, these two characters who were so close to each other, basically sisters, coming together one last time, reckoning with their past, reckoning with the actions that brought them here, and then reckoning with the fact that it's unavoidable and they must move forward from this point. It's just so very interesting. Who else had an interesting storyline? Daemon. I feel like Daemon had a pretty interesting storyline. So did Aegon, the king. Aegon is in such an interesting position, right? Because he just fired Otto, right? He kicked Otto out. Otto's going to see Darren now, and Kristen Cole has been appointed Hand of the King, and they talk about in the post episode how he placed him there because he is not a politician. Like, he's a fierce warrior, but he's not like a smart guy by any means. And part of that is so that Aegon the king isn't like challenged in his rulings. Like, he gets to decide what is happening now, and truly is asserting himself as the ruler, and not just like a pawn or a puzzle piece that the council has put in place, right? Because up to this point, it very much felt like Otto and Alicent, and the rest of the council were the ones that were in charge, and Aegon was just a piece that had been put there that they could manipulate and move and convince to do certain things. And now that he's gotten rid of Otto, he is asserting himself as like, I'm in charge, but he still has this like deep sense of insecurity, and so he's trying to prop himself up. He went and got Aegon the Conqueror's armor, and he had that fitted to him, and he's trying to like pose and be like, I'm gonna go out and fight, and they're all like, you're stupid, don't do that. and he dresses up, but then Larys talks to him, and he's like, if you go out and fight, whether you live or die, it can be viewed two different ways, right? It can be viewed of like, oh my god, like the king going out being brave, fighting on the front lines, or it can be viewed as though the council manipulated you to go fight and die, and then they can keep ruling because they think you're weak. And Larys he could make the choice to cultivate. He could make the choice to cultivate. He could make the choice to cultivate either one of those rumors. Like, he has that power as the head of Whispers or whatever. Like, he could do that, and he doesn't need to go to the king and be like, hey, here are two ways this could be interpreted. Because him doing that in itself was manipulating the king to stay back. And it's so interesting how he just like ingratiates himself and like makes himself feel indispensable to each one of these individuals. And it's just, he's a sneaky guy, and I'm curious to see what he's gonna do. But yeah, Aegon does end up staying, and he ends up going out drinking with his Kingsguard, which he had an interesting moment, because they're talking about going out and drinking at a brothel, and he's like, you're sworn to celibacy, and they're like, haha, funny, and he's like, looks at him, and they're like, oh yeah, but then he can't even stay consistent to that. Like, he had a brief moment of recognizing his position and recognizing the duty and the importance of all this, and then immediately goes back on it. Like, he's not consistent at all. He goes back on it, goes to the brothel, and we're treated to some very naked sex acts, which I'm either gonna have to cut or blur all of. And then he has a moment with his brother. He has a moment with his brother who's in the brothel with the consort that he assumably lost his virginity to. And he only chooses her because it's like this, I don't know if it's this weird sense of like lost motherhood. Like, maybe he feels like Alicent was never truly a mother to him, and so he like coddles up to this woman and like, confides in her because he can't confide in anyone else. He couldn't confide in any of his family because they just like hated him and made fun of him growing up and treated him like crap. And then he got the biggest, baddest dragon of them all, and they still kind of treat him like crap. Like, his brother comes in and is like viciously mocking him and making fun of him, and it's like, I don't think you recognize what you're doing in this moment. Like, you are actively molding a school shooter. Like this kid was already unhinged. He's already weird and unhinged, and you're just inflaming it, and like, he's gonna do bad things because of you. Like, I don't think you realize what's going on. I mean, you're plastered, and you're not gonna remember this in the morning anyway. But like decisions are being made, and you're gonna reap what you sow, King. Like, it's not gonna be a good move. But we see a whole bunch of full frontal nudity in that scene, and a lot of it's gonna have to be blurred for sure. Die, mosquito. We also had like Kristen Cole like low key kind of feuding with Alicent throughout the episode. Like, she is obviously mad at him because of his actions, but he has this deluded sense of self-confidence, and they're like low-key bickering at the table and fighting, and they're just like, I don't even know fully how to like describe how angry they are at each other, but Kristen Cole's like, I'm gonna ride to Harrenhal and I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna kill whoever's there, and it's gonna be like this secret stealth mission. And Alicent, being, you know, the individual who thinks she's correct, she's like, you know, every member of the council, Green Council, thinks that they're the right one and wants their plan to be asserted, and so she's like, my brother's going along with you. And her brother ends up effing it up. Gawain is like, I'm gonna go ride to an inn, and Cole's like, you're stupid, why would you go to an inn? Like, even going to an inn initially was a bad idea, because like, other people will be at this inn. It's not just your nephew. Other people are gonna give us away. And then freaking, you know, Bela on her dragon is like, I spy with my little eye someone I can chase. And she lets him know, and so now everyone knows Cole is riding to Harrenhal, and so that's going to disrupt his plans. You know, like, I feel like the only good thing that happened in this episode, maybe in terms of like safety and security, was Rhaenyra sending her kids away with Rhaena. Rhaena and the eggs and her kids sent them away to, I think, where did they say they were going? Pentos? I think she said she was sending them to Pentos. Or, no, she's sending some of them to Pentos. I think she's sending one of her kids to Pentos with the eggs, and then the rest to Lady Jane Eyre. And I think, is Pentos... I don't think Pentos is where Daenerys started out. I thought that started with an I, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure those are the eggs, like the 3 eggs that become that become Daenerys's dragons. I think those were those eggs. I could be wrong about that too, but I think that's what that is. But she sends her kids away to safety because, like, she's already recognized she's extremely vulnerable. So she's like, I'm gonna see if they can get out of danger and ride out the war, not close to me. And that's, I think, a smart move, you know. But Rhaena is not happy about it. We'll see if she, you know, throws a fit and makes this a problem, but I doubt she will. But she's got a little bit of her father's fire in her, and he after the fight that him and Rhaenyra got in last episode, he's like, I'm gonna just fly to Harrenhal, you know, I'm just do my thing, and he shows up to this like spooky haunted castle, and he's expecting a fight, right? Like he wants to make up for his wrongs, and he wants to like claim this castle for Rhaenyra, but freaking no one's here. Like, this is a rundown haunted castle, just pouring rain constantly, and he's walking through it, and he's hearing sounds, and he, like, you know, he approaches the room where the initial council where Jaehaerys proclaimed Viserys king, I believe, and like skipped over Rhaenys. he like hears the cheering from back in the day, and he hears people singing at various points, and he comes into this place and is like, I'm claiming this as my own. And they're like, cool, okay. Like, the what's his name, Strong, is like, I hate my family anyway. Like, welcome aboard, dude. You know, I'll bend the knee to you. But then there's this spooky girl who isn't bending the knee, and is she one of the, like, is she one of the witches that, like, Melisandre was part of, like the Red Witches or whatever? Maybe? I don't know. She's doing spooky things. Like, she's in a spooky area and saying spooky things. And freaking Damon is hallucinating, and, like, not just, like, hearing subtle voices. Like, he's straight up hallucinating. And he thinks someone's trying to break into his room. And then he's wandering around, and he sees young Rhaenyra. They brought Millie Alcock back, which is super fun. And she is sewing the head of the little dude, Jaehaerys. She's sewing his head back on, and is like, you know, here I am, always cleaning up your messes. And it's just like a literal representation of Daemon being haunted by his mistakes. And, like, you know, part of it is just all the tragedy and death that has happened in this castle, and then part of it is like the Godswood, Weirwood trees that are like reclaiming the spot. And it's just such an interesting scene, because, like, you don't know what to trust in this place. Like, I don't think you want a massive army to come here, because everyone's going to be having spooky dreams and going to end up killing each other. I think in Game of Thrones they come here eventually. I think Tywin brings his army here, I think. And that's when, like, Arya is like his cupbearer and stuff, and like she gets the faceless man to kill some people, and it's just like a very interesting place. But yeah, he's like haunted by his past, and I love the fact that they brought young Millie Alcock back, because it's just so impactful to him. Like, that version of her is so impactful, both to the story and to Daemon. And so it's really cool to have her back. And then he wakes up, like, he realizes it's a dream, and he's right in front of, like, the Godswood tree, and this spooky lady is like, you're gonna die here. And then just walks away. And it's like, what the frick? Like, how do you just say that and leave? Like, come on now. Just spooky lady. But I guess this this set is like one of the biggest sets they've built, other than like the boat set, I guess. And they had to like constantly be like pumping in rain to this, like everything's dripping, and it was just like a really cool set. The interior of Harrenhal, and I think it's a lot of fun. And it's pretty cool. But my guess is Daemon is he's potentially gonna run into a fight here. It looks like next episode has like some full-on battles that are happening. Oh, I didn't even talk about the battle that started this episode with the Blackwoods and the Brackens. You know, the Hatfields and the McCoys, the Montagues and the Capulets of the Game of Thrones universe, where they just hate each other. They just hate each other's guts. and you know, they use the larger conflict as an excuse to fight, essentially, in this opening scene. You know, they bring up like moving the boundary stones or whatever, but then they're just like, you know, you're a traitor, you aligned with the traitor. Like, he draws their sword, like, you wouldn't dare, and then it immediately cuts to everybody dead. And it's just like, damn, dude. Like, I don't know if anybody in that scene survived. Like, the Blackwood guy, who's supposed to be like on our side, on the black side, he seemed kind of psychotic and kind of like a D-bag and kind of like a super big dick. And the guy who's on the green side, who I thought was a girl at first, for sure. I straight up thought that was a girl. From the trailers and stuff that we saw, I straight up thought it was a girl. Definitely was a guy, though. That person seemed like a lot more chill and a lot less dickish. Just kind of like generally scared and not wanting to like turn this into something bigger than it is, which is interesting because the last time we saw these two families, that sort of role was reversed, where the Blackwood, I think the Blackwood was the like small little kid who wanted to like marry Rhaenyra, and then the Bracken was like the douchebag who ended up dying. And so it's kind of interesting to have those roles reversed, and then what seemingly just starts out as an argument, but then has a sword drawn, turns into this like massive battlefield of bodies. Like this apparently like 40,000 person fighting force just massacring themselves in this field with this burning mill in the background, and it's just like these things, these misunderstandings, like to bring it back to the end of the episode, the misunderstanding that these two women have had to reckon with and come to the truth of it, what started as such a small thing turns into something massive. Like Rainey said, like at the end of the day, they're not gonna even remember why they're fighting. Like it does, and it almost doesn't even matter. like is it about Aemon's eye? Is it about the baby that got killed? Is it about the throne? Is it about this? Is it about that? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's us versus them. And what started out as this small argument, piggybacked by the crown fight, just turned into this massive battlefield. And it's crazy because it truly shows there's no turning back from this. It's war. War is happening. War is already happening, and it's going to continue to happen. Like next episode is a fight. Like people are lining up, not just like, hey, we got a couple horsemen, but like full-on armies are lining up to fight. We got, arrows shooting. I imagine maybe some dragons fighting. Like it's gonna be intense, and I think it brings us to halfway through the season, because is there only 8 episodes this season, I think? So that like roughly brings us halfway, and presumably full on into the war. Like that's gonna be a lot. But yeah, this was the deep breath before you go out into the cold. Once more into the breach, the deep breath before you go under, before you go fight, before you do the rep, whatever you want to call it. This was in essence Rhaenyra finally steeling herself to the fight that is to come, and coming to terms with what basically everyone else already knew, that fighting is inevitable and it's gonna happen, and she has to accept it and make a choice. And I'm scared but excited to see where it's gonna go from here. But that's all I have to say. Definitely let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. I'm very curious to see and hear your thoughts on the episode and what's going on. Leave all those comments down below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me. If you're new here, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon or joining YouTube memberships. You just sync up your own copy of the episode and you can watch along with me. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.